Hello, welcome to a video about new student registration being hosted by the Office of Academic Advising here at the Community College of Philadelphia. The objectives for this presentation include a brief overview of important registration policies, things to consider before, during, and after you register, reminders to complete your financial aid, as well as next steps you need to take. Let's first talk about registration policies. When it comes to adding and dropping courses, you can do this until the first day of the term. You will add or drop courses online until the term starts. It is the responsibility of the student to add or drop courses to their schedule. Academic advisors do not have the ability to change a student's schedule. If you need help adding or dropping courses or making changes to your schedule, you can email the Office of Student Records and Registration at osrrhelp@ccp.edu. It's very important to recognize once the semester starts, if you choose to drop a course, you will be charged 50% of the tuition and fees. If you need to add a course, you can no longer do this online, and you can only do this through the Office of Student Records and Registration. So once again, you can add or drop courses as you need to online up until the first day of the term. It is the responsibility of a student to add or drop their courses. Academic advisors do not have the ability to do so. Once the term begins, if you drop a course, you will be charged 50% of your tuition and fees. Also, if you need to add a course, you can no longer do that on your own online, and you will need to add a course with the assistance of the Office of Student Records and Registration. And you can reach that office at osrrhelp@ccp.edu. There are some things to consider when you are putting together your schedule for either the fall, spring, or summer semesters. During our fall and spring semesters, we have several terms that you can choose from. The first one and our most traditional is our 15-week term. This is what we consider to have normal pacing and the best for first-time college students. So the semester goes the entire 15 weeks, and all of your academic responsibilities are going to be spread out during that time. The next option you can choose from is our 10-week term. This is an accelerated term. So during this 10 weeks of the term, you will still be responsible for learning and accomplishing 15 weeks of content. So this will be very fast. The last option is a 7-week term. This is going twice as fast as the 15-week term. So you'll have 15 weeks worth of content in 7 weeks. If you're considering summer semesters, it's important to know that we have 14-week courses, and there's a limited number of classes offered during the summertime. Most classes are offered in 7-week terms. So these are going to go twice as fast as that 15-week term we talked about. This is going to be 7A, which runs from May through June, and 7N, which runs from July through August. It's important to note that students are not allowed to take more than 2 courses during each summer term. A few other things you want to consider when thinking about your schedule are, 1, what other responsibilities do you have in your life? Many of our students juggle home responsibilities as well as other responsibilities outside the home on top of their academic courses. So you want to keep that in mind when you're thinking about how many classes to take and how successful you can be. The other thing we want you to consider is, what are your academic strengths and areas of improvement? This is going to be important when thinking about the number of classes to take, what types of classes to take, as well as taking advantage of as many campus resources as possible. And then finally, how many hours a week do you work? We'll talk a little bit about this more in the next slide, but thinking about how many hours a week you work is going to be really important when thinking about how much time you can devote to your studies. 2 terms you may hear often when at the Community College of Philadelphia is whether or not you're part-time or full-time. Simply put, a student who is part-time is registered for less than 12 credits. This is generally 2 to 3 courses, and that's going to be even less courses during the summertime. A student who's considered full-time is registered for 12 or more credits, which is generally around 4 or 5 courses. And again, that's going to be less classes in the summertime. So as I previously mentioned, we do take in consideration how many hours a week are you working. As you can see, the more hours a week a student is working, the less classes that we recommend for you to take. And that's because it's important for us to recognize that you need to devote additional time outside of your class time in order for you to be successful. So if you take a look at this chart, no matter how many classes you're taking, we still recommend additional course time for you, additional time for your studies. And this time can include times for your papers, your projects, or anything else you need to do to be successful in that course. So if you're looking at carrying a pretty heavy workload, we recommend thinking about taking less courses so that way you can be successful in balancing everything you need to do. If you're looking at working less than full time, then we may recommend for you to take more classes because you may have more time to devote to your studies. Overall, these are all recommendations, so it's going to be really important for you to take some time to evaluate what all you have to do, what responsibilities you have, as well as what kind of a student you want to be. Switching gears, let's talk about financial aid. First things first, have you completed your FAFSA? Once you register for your classes, you will receive a bill for your tuition and fees soon after. So it's going to be very important to make sure that your financial aid is packaged and is ready to be dispersed. If you have any questions about that, you want to contact the Office of Student Financial Aid just to make sure everything is together. If you need to contact the Office of Student Financial Aid, you can reach them at financialaid@ccp.edu. So here's a couple of next steps that we're recommending for you to do. One, you have to make sure that you've completed your new student registration intake form. 2, make sure you talk to financial aid. Even if you think everything's okay, just double check with them to make sure that your FAFSA is all together, make sure your aid has been packaged and ready to be dispersed. Because remember, soon after you register for classes, payment is going to be required. Make sure you check your CCP email daily. An advisor will email you your course recommendations and a registration packet. When you receive that email, make sure you read the email in full. Make sure you open any attachments that they've included because it's going to include steps. Not only is it going to include the classes that we recommend for you to take, it's going to include the steps on how to register for your classes. So again, once your advisor emails you, register for your classes and make sure you pay your bill. For some students, their financial aid will cover their entire bill. For some students, they will have a remaining balance after their financial aid is dispersed. So again, you want to make sure you've been in contact with the Office of Student Financial Aid to make sure where you fall. And one final reminder, please make sure you're checking your CCP email daily. All information related to the college will come to you from your CCP email, not your personal email. And remember, finally, if you need to get in contact with a faculty or staff member, please include your J number in that email. It just makes things a little bit easier for them so that way they can research you and make sure that they have all the information they need about you to help you the best way possible. We hope you found this video informative. Once again, welcome to the Community College of Philadelphia, and we're looking forward to seeing you next semester.